She Is Serious, a podcast where we showcase female athletes and their impact beyond the game. Each week, we will be bringing on influential women in the world of sports and showing why they are so much more than athletes. My name is Taylor Hall. I'm a health and fitness influencer and collegiate athlete at Paisley University. And this is my sis, my co-host, Ashley White. What's up, girl?
Hey y'all, hey, my name is Ashley White, a former student athlete manager for UNCW's women's basketball, a blogger, writer for Beautiful Ballers, and an advocate for women in sports. Thank you for tuning in weekly to She Is Serious podcast. And this is why female athletes are now to be taken seriously. Hey, sis!
Welcome back to She Is Serious. Today we are super excited to have another special guest on. Paisley girl, what's happening? How are you doing? Tell us how your season went. I know it just got over. What's up?
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really thankful. But like she said, my name is Paisley Specht. I play basketball at University of Northern Colorado, and my season did just finish up. And as any of you guys know that have played basketball or followed basketball, you know that it's a very long season at that. So I'm definitely tired and kind of ready for a little bit of a break. I'm actually in the airport, going to go on vacation, which is great for me. But, our season was good. It was long, like we said. It's tough. I just transferred school, so it was my first year there. I was there in the summer, doing off-season conditioning, a lot of workouts. And basically from June until, last week, I was playing basketball every single day, which, good thing I love it. But it was long, and it was fun. But we did pretty good. I'm proud of our team. We were really young and we were growing a lot. But overall, I had a great year and I love my teammates and I'm thankful for that year.
Oh
That's
my God,
awesome.
that's so awesome. Definitely you need a break for sure because I know when I finished last week, I was like, okay, I don't even want to look at a basketball, touch a basketball, anything for at least a good week. You know what I mean? It's definitely long for sure.
Totally. And you just finished up your career. So again, congratulations on that. That's amazing and proud of you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. It just feels so weird. I'm like, I don't have to go to practice every day for 5 hours. What do I even do?
I know it's too much free time. I was finding myself doing weird things. I was let me just go on a walk or something. What do I do after school?
No, literally, I'm I guess I can get my nails done now for real. I just got my first ever set of acrylics. I was
cute.
Are they the oval shape? Are they oval?
Yeah, those are really good. I actually got oval too recently, but these are kind of old. I'll probably get them done.
Now y'all got me wanting to go. I'm naked. My nails are naked.
No, it's time. It's glow up season, baby. It's time to get them nails done.
It's about to get warm outside.
I know, pool time, everything. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Well, we just wanted to start off first by kind of asking you, what is your sports story and how did you start playing basketball in the first place?
Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of young athletes started up with their family. My parents obviously always encouraged me to do whatever I wanted. I think they secretly wanted me to play basketball. But luckily I fell in love with it too. And I mean, from the age of 4 or 5, I was in little mommy and me classes and stuff, dribbling the ball, shooting the ball. I was really lucky. My dad coached a lot of my teams growing up, my little rec leagues to my first AAU team. So he was super supportive. My mom was super supportive. I have a lot of cousins that play basketball, really inspired me growing up. A few of them went to college to play. So, all of that kind of just makes you want to grow up and be just like them. And I ended up here. So I've been playing forever. And I think my ultimate dream came true to play in college. And so I guess it worked out for me.
I remember you mentioned that you transferred from one college to another. So could you explain how did that which college that you transferred from and what was the decision? What was your reasoning behind it, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. I think a lot of athletes who were recruited during the COVID year can probably relate to this. So in 2021 was my graduation year. So that would mean summer of 2020 was my last AAU year, which means it got completely shut down because of COVID. So I did not play a single AAU game my junior summer, which is a really critical year for getting recruited in college.
The most important.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously everybody's high school seasons were cut really short. It was kind of turned into a few just fun games at the end of the year, not a normal season. So I also didn't really get my senior season of high school basketball. And so at this point, I had a few offers from like some bigger D1s that I was like really interested in. And when the NCAA announced the COVID year where everyone would get an extra year of eligibility, almost all of my offers got pulled. So they were basically like thank you so much for being interested, but since everybody's going to get an extra year, our seniors are going to stay, which means we no longer have like scholarship spots for you. So I was like left, kind of confused, didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do. And then Idaho State offered me, and that was like what I thought was going to be the best fit. And they're a really successful program. Like I really felt good with them. And because of that, I also never got to go on a visit because COVID. So I didn't really know everything I was getting myself into, but I was still excited and I committed and I went there. And like I said, I would never take my year back for anything. Like I enjoyed myself. I learned so much. I played for like a very veteran team. We actually won our conference that year. So I got a ring, but I redshirted.
Yay.
I redshirted though. But like I said, I learned so much. I mean, I was playing with like 22, 23-year-old girls who were like very veteran, very experienced, very knowledgeable on the court. My coach was a very winning coach. Like he had won the year before me as well. So he taught me a lot. And I think overall, it just wasn't the best fit for me mentally. I know a lot of athletes go through mental health struggles, and it's also my freshman year. It was my first year being away from home. It was my first year being on my own. And I think it was all overwhelming. It wasn't really an environment I thought it was going to be, you know what I mean? And I think because of that, like my overall well-being, my overall happiness, I decided like I'm going to do it. I'm going to transfer, and whatever it's supposed to be will happen. And I ended up at Northern Colorado, and I'm much happier. I feel better about myself, more confident. So I think it worked out for me. But like I said, I would never take that year away because I learned a lot.
It's almost like a blessing in disguise.
Totally.
That's so good, but you have such a positive outlook on it too, and just being able to play under those veteran players, I'm sure taught you a ton that you could bring to Northern Colorado this year. So that's super
Definitely.
Cool. What would you say is the biggest difference in atmosphere from your old school in Idaho to your school now at Northern Colorado?
Yeah, well, I think, obviously every school, every program is very different. And there's things that I loved about Idaho State that Northern Colorado doesn't have, but there's a lot of things that I love about Northern Colorado that I didn't feel like I had at Idaho State necessarily. I think the coaching staff is a little bit closer with me off the court, which I really appreciate. Like I go in and talk to my coaches all the time. Like they're super involved in my life. They know about my family, ask about my family all the time. My family knows them really well. And I think that aspect is something that I really wanted in my college experience because, you are away from home and you don't really have your family as much as you're probably used to. And so like having those adult figures in your life that you can count on like family, I think is really important. Also, this is just circumstantial, but at my last school, like I said, I was playing under a lot of veteran players. My new school, which I mentioned, we had a ton of freshmen, which made me a redshirt freshman, kind of like a veteran on the team. So I think I got a different role, which my personality just, I enjoy these types of roles, like leadership roles and, kind of having more of a say and being able to help younger girls grow. And so I had like a leadership role on my new team, which I really enjoyed this year. And even though I was injured for a lot of it, I liked, coaching from the sidelines and cheering on my teammates and helping them to practice. So I think that opportunity also fit well with my change in schools.
But speaking of leadership, was there somebody in the leader-wise or somebody like a role model that kind of influenced you to take that role?
Yeah, well, I think also going from my last school where I saw a bunch of leaders, they all inspired me, and I'm really close with all of them still. Like some of them actually play, still in the Big Sky Conference, which I remained in when I transferred. So I got to see a few of my good friends while we were at the Big Sky Conference tournament last week, which was great to catch up with all of them. Like I love them so much, and they're great role models in my life, and they've meant so much to not only my basketball career, but also just, life. But also coming to my new team, a few of the older girls who were there, who are now like, my best friends on the team, have like Delaney, Hannah, they had both played multiple years before. Sydney had played a few years, and they were just like great role models to me because they knew what it was like to play, and they also knew the program that I was joining. And I think they taught me the ropes early on because they knew like I was technically one of the older girls and I could probably help in those areas of like leadership roles. And so they taught me a lot about the program and what it's like there and what the culture is. And I feel like we have a culture of hard work, and they're great leaders because they they show hard work. Like, they don't just talk about hard work. Like, when we're at practice, they're working the hardest, they're running the hardest. And that's kind of what showed me, like, okay, if I want to be a leader, like, I also have to be working the hardest out there. And so I think they're just great inspirational people who definitely showed me how to lead a team as well.
No, that's so important, literally, to have leaders that show by example,
Yes.
because then it motivates you to want to do the same thing. Like, when people are just talking, that's great, but it's another thing to actually be doing that action, and then your team's going to follow. So that's really crucial. And I think a lot of teams don't have enough of that, enough of good, strong leadership.
Totally.
So the Big Sky Conference you mentioned, a lot of people would probably consider it as like a mid-major since it's, say, if you go to a tournament, only one team from that type of conference could go and not like, say, multiple. What would you say is the misconception of mid-majors that people tend to like kind of overlook on why they don't feel like going?
I think it's the same thing with like a D2, D3, or a junior college school, the same type of misconception, because it's like, I can guarantee you all of us are working just as hard as each other. And I think everyone would agree to that. I'm sure if you ask a player on UConn, do you think the girls at conditioning at a JUCO or something are running as hard as you or trying as hard as you? The answer is probably yes. Like, we all want to be out there. We're all working our butts off, you know? And I think the biggest difference is probably overall skill or overall athleticism. You know what I mean? Like, you get to a Power 5 school and their center is going to be 6'5", strong, crashing the boards, you know, whereas like a mid-major, our center is maybe 6'2", you know, and like that's the main difference, is that she wasn't born that tall. But I mean, the Big Sky Conference is pretty competitive, and I think just like any conference, when you see the same teams multiple times a year, you know, you want to beat them every time you see them. And you get to know them really well. You get to know personnel. You get to know scout. You know, you start scouting their plays, things like that. And I think it just adds to the overall competitiveness. And like you mentioned, only the team that wins the tournament is going to the big dance. So I think that even adds more fuel to our fire. Whereas, you know, if you look at like a SEC, multiple teams from that conference will go to the tournament regardless of if they won the tournament or not. Versus the Big Sky, it's like every single game, like, we have to win this game if we even want a chance in the NCAA tournament. So I think it kind of makes it a little bit more competitive even.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's a good question too, Ash, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions, like you said, Paige, between levels and just in conferences. Like, it literally is just as competitive, if not more, because you just have that much more in the line to win every single game, especially when it comes to the conference tournament. But it's like a difference in athleticism, height, because, you know, it's like your 6'2" post can't really compete against like a 6'7" post from Stanford or UConn. So so a lot of times it's like strength, size, height, which I don't know really what goes on in the weight room and what they feed these girls sometimes at these schools, because I'm like, how do they get this big? Like, I know genetics too, it's just craziness. But yeah, I think that you make a really good point saying that it's just as competitive. It's just like there's a lot of differences, whether it's size, strength, skill. And sometimes I honestly think that there's players at lower levels that have more skill, but it's just not able to translate to those upper levels and play against the girls that are that much quicker and stronger.
Yeah, exactly that.
I just noticed too, another reason too, I feel like, is the lack of, say, resources or programs within like the if you think about it, like, I'm pretty sure, Paisley, you could attest to this, and I know Taylor can. So say like y'all have a game before say y'all have a game, a doubleheader game. So like the women's played in the men's, and then some of the men's teams show up. So, but say if a men's play, all the women's players show up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that type of support is really important if, like, say, both, you know, the men's squad would show up and actually just stay instead of like just go and say they went and then just left?
Totally. No, I do. And I think, like, even besides just athletics, like, I think the regular community showing up to games, especially for women, is important. I don't really understand why one game would be valued higher than the other as it is, you know, like, everyone just, if you're talking about like, are you going to the game tonight? It's like, yeah, the men's game, duh, you know what I mean? And I don't think that should be true. I think that it is important, though, like you said, for other male athletes to support female athletes because I feel like they're in the world, like they understand. Like I think if you asked our men's team, like, do you think the girls team is good at basketball? Like they're all gonna say, yeah, like they work hard, they're hooping, like they're skilled, they're talented because it's like they know basketball and they know that we're all putting in the same work that they are every single day. We're at the same level, we're at the same university, like we can all play basketball, you know what I mean? And so I think if they go show their support and like tell their friends that don't play sports, like, yeah, this girl's basketball is elite. Like this is high level basketball. It's, you know, in my case, it's Division 1 basketball. Like it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. We're all at the same level. We're playing basketball. And I think there's no reason that one should be supported more than the other. But like you said, I do think it's important for male athletes to uplift female athletes because they have a higher say, like in the community because they have, you know, athletic knowledge. So I think it is really important for them to support us.
100%. And that can just put women's sports on a higher platform just by the males being like, hey, this is legit. For like you said, at the end of the day, both women and men are putting in the same amount of work.
Totally. I was going to say it's similar. You know, we see a lot of NBA guys supporting like the WNBA. And I think that has really helped the WNBA gain some leverage lately. I mean, if you look at NBA players, that's the highest pedestal you can get in the worlds of men's basketball. And if you hear them saying, yeah, the WNBA is great, like I watch the WNBA, I go to WNBA games, like those girls can really hoop, then it's like, if you're a regular guy sitting on the couch, are you not going to listen to this amazing athlete say that women's sports are cool? You know what I mean? Because I feel like the biggest haters of women's sports are guys that don't even know how to dribble a ball. Like,
no, that's what we've been saying, Paisley. That's literally what we've been saying.
My thing is, it's always those ones that I said, you know, I know y'all probably got this. Talking about, hey, you want to play one-on-one? I'm trying to play one-on-one on you. But these be the ones that they try to like use a pickup line from Love and Basketball, the movie, and like, bruh, I don't want to play for you on one-on-one for your heart. And plus, you probably were the same one that failed gym class because you didn't want to change into gym clothes. I'm not taking you seriously.
Facts. And you probably also don't like women's sports.
It's so funny. But when you were talking about like the discrepancies between male and females and like the different levels and stuff in sports, do you think it's a lack of, because, okay, let's say in the tournament, right? There's a bunch of men's teams that are like 16 seeds we'll see beat number 1 seeds or 15 seeds beat 2. Like, and that's not really happening in women's basketball because it's like, okay, we know UConn's going to beat whatever other team and it's never really an upset. And if that does happen, it's kind of a miracle. So do you think there's a lack of resources just in general for females in sports as males? Why can they be able to compete no matter what level?
I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with when she asked me what's the biggest like difference in mid-major. I think when we were talking about like that general athleticism or like that natural like born with talent in girls, you know, you're not walking the street every single day and you see a 6'4" girl versus like you can probably name, you know, you probably are friends with a lot of over 6 feet guys, you know, and I think that when you're looking at the difference in like mid-major or high major schools for guys, when you look at the overall look of their team, you know, like height, girth, width, like how strong they are, how tall they are, I think you won't see that big of a difference. You know, of course you have your like crazy guys where it's like, whoa, like he's literally 7 feet tall. Like, yeah, he's probably a high major player. But I think that if you took off their jerseys, like you wouldn't really know who was who. Like, is he a Power 5 guy or is he a mid-major guy? Versus girls, I think if you see a team with like a 6'5" and a 6'7" post, you know, and a 6-foot point guard, you're like, yeah, that's a high major girls basketball team, you know, versus like a mid-major where you've got your 5-foot something guards 1 through 3, and then you got maybe a 6'4" and a 6'1" center, you know what I mean, is like a tall team. So I think that kind of makes it harder for girls to compete across all levels because of the overall like athletic advantage that a Power 5 school probably has put together. But I also do think that we do lack a lot of resources like mid-major schools when it comes to like drinking a protein shake after workout. Like, do we have access to that? Or like, do we have a weight gain program? Or, you know what I mean? Do we have a diet program? Things like that. Whereas if you're at a Power 5 school, it's like every meal is planned for you. You know exactly what you're going to eat to put on this amount of muscle and to keep your body healthy and all those kinds of things.
I realize another issue that mid majors probably deal with, especially in women's sports, if that program doesn't succeed what they are supposed to do at a certain amount of time, they are threatened to get cuts.
Yeah.
They are threatened to have their budget cut, that whole program cut, and that provides less opportunities for women to, like, say, to transfer or to go, because, like, even if some of them don't get the chance to play and they want to, transfer to a different school, it's like, what tape do I have?
Yeah.
Like, the only tape I have is probably high school, and that really doesn't support what I want to do. Yeah. Like the is, I think that's another issue is the whole, like, you have a certain time set of how many times you can win, and I think that's a huge issue in, like, mid majors too.
Yeah.
Because Power Five, you can get away with it. Mid majors,
yeah, they would definitely want to see you perform. Yeah.
But you know what's kind of cool though is with this NIL era, like mid-major to high major to D1, D2, D3, like everything, people are being able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness, which is really cool. And I don't think it necessarily matters. Like, we see some girls, obviously, from, the schools like Stanford, the schools like UConn, like, yes, they're working with huge brands, but also it gives us an opportunity to boost these smaller brands. And I think, Paisley, you're a great example of this. You are a huge NIL athlete and you've created a huge platform for yourself and you've been able to work with a lot of brands. How has that played into your college career?
Yeah, well, like you said, I think it's a amazing thing that the NCAA allowed NIL finally, because I think that for many, many years, college athletes have basically been getting exploited. I mean, you're going to hear people who say your school is paid for and things like that. Like, you don't need to make any money. And okay, yeah, our school is paid for in some cases, but you go look at, pull up a Duke men's basketball game and tell me how many seats are sold out and tell me how much money a player made from that game. Like, $0. You guys are getting NBA attendance. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying they need to pay us. I'm saying that we should have the opportunity to profit off of our name, which they're allowing now. And like you said, yeah, I have worked pretty hard recently to gain some leverage on the NIL, and I definitely have built a following for myself, which is really exciting. It's really fun. I've worked with a few brands. I've worked with Victoria's Secret Pink, Amazon. I did NIL deal with Bumble. I'm trying to think, like, what
which is huge. And like literally, and it's not even like you're at a huge school, like University of Northern Colorado. It's a D1 mid-major, but it's not like super well known. Like when I told Ash at first, she was like, "Oh my gosh, University of North Carolina."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, in Colorado." But you've been working with Victoria's Secrets, Amazon, like that's huge,
Yeah, no, and I think it is important for us, especially like as because not all of us are playing basketball right now thinking like, I'm going to go to the WNBA after this. Like, whereas a lot of men who are playing basketball right now are like, I'm going to go to the NBA after this. Like, that's their career goal. I think for us, we have other interests, and of course, WNBA is not making as much money as it should be, but that's another topic. But, like, we have to figure out a way for us to have a career after this. And I think that the NIL is helping a lot of us figure out where we want to go in life. I think that I do want a career in life in sports still and in marketing, which is something that I'm practicing right now by doing NIL deals. And I think that this has helped me gain leverage in that community and meeting a ton of people, just like both of you guys, who are in this type of space that I would want to be in one day. And I think social media is great, in our day and age. Like, it's our main form of communication. I've met so many women basketball players, women athletes, just amazing girls through social media who I would have never met just walking down the street. And so I'm super thankful for it, but it's been really fun and something that I enjoy. I think it's given me a hobby outside of basketball. We're so busy playing basketball and going to practice every single day. I think participating in NIL and social media gives me something fun to do on the side, which I'm really thankful for as well.
Super important. And I think a lot of times social media gets a bad light because it's saying, we're comparing ourselves as women, which, yes, it's true. And too much comparison is not good. But at the same time, it's been able to help us generate our own brands and then make connections like you, Paisley. It's really cool. I got to do a collab with you on YouTube. I would have
Yeah,
never known you if it wasn't
that's what I'm
for social
saying.
media.
Yeah,
You know,
so
yeah, so
fun.
it's cool that we're able to create a community and stuff like this on social media and using our platforms and just working with other brands and other athletes. So I think
Totally.
honestly, at the end of the day, social media is more of a good than it is a bad thing.
Yeah, me as well.
What's a brand that you hope and pray that you get endorsed or want to work with?
Um, okay, well, I've talked to this brand before, but I would love to do something for real with them. Like we talk back and forth, but Wilson basketball, I mean, like, if you were a hooper growing up, you had an evolution. And so I would love to do something with them one
Yes,
day.
girl.
But yeah, so maybe I'll open the door a little bit for that.
Oh, those
Yes.
evolutions were my go-to, but I would always leave them at my gym, like in
And
my
then you had to get a
tournaments
new
and
one.
stuff. And
Yeah,
I was just like, oh my God, they're so expensive too, like
totally.
$70,
Yeah,
but worth
that was a nice ball.
it.
And they had a
Yes.
grip to it too. Like
Mhm.
I don't know what it is about certain basketballs, but they feel so good on your
Yeah,
hands. You be like,
Evolution was a
what
good
is
ball.
this?
Totally.
It's always so. What would you say is how important you feel like mental health is when it comes to collegiate athletes?
Yeah,
And do you feel like it needs to be talked about more instead of being pushed under the rug?
yeah, well, like I said, that was one of the biggest reasons I left my old university. And I think it's a huge thing that needs to be dealt with and talked about more openly. We recently at my university just got a sports psychologist, which I'm really happy about. A lot of my teammates have talked to him. I've talked to him. I think it's important. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand what the mental stresses we go through every single day. You have this feeling of pressure kind of put on you that you need to be perfect and performing at the highest level you can every single day. And it's not like some idea you're just making up in your head. I mean, you're pretty much told that you need to be performing at your highest level every single day. And that's hard. Like, I'm sure most regular adults don't wake up and perform at their highest possible level every single day. And we're asked to do it
Yeah.
basically 24/7. We're asked to get up early, eat a full breakfast, go to classes, get great grades, go get extra work in, go to practice, go to film, go to weights. Like, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And there's not a lot of careers where you're scrutinized in your work every single day. Whereas it's like college basketball, every single day you go into work, you're going to be criticized and you're going to be scrutinized. Like when you're at practice, you're going to get yelled at. Like you're going to get told you're not doing something good. You're going to watch film and you're going to watch a mistake you made and it's going to get pointed out in front of everyone. And if you just think about regular life, if you were just walking on the street and people were criticizing you all day, every day, you probably wouldn't feel that great about yourself. So if you like apply that to basketball, it's hard to be confident in your basketball skills all the time and confident in yourself. And I think that's where mental health comes in. Like it can be depressing when basketball is your whole identity and you're not performing to your absolute best level because you feel like you're not performing at your highest just in life because basketball basically is your life. And I think for me, something I really struggled with this year was my injury, which I think is another thing that creates bad mental health. Um, because like I said, basketball is like my identity. Basketball is what I do. Basketball is who I am. And when I was injured and I wasn't able to play basketball anymore, it was like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? It was hard to feel good about myself because the way I would feel good about myself was performing good in basketball. So when I woke up every day and I couldn't even practice or go shoot or walk, I was like, wow, like I suck. I didn't do anything good today. You know what I mean?
A lot of athletes go through injury. Of course, it's kind of inevitable. We play a
Mm-hmm.
sport and we go through a lot of contact every single day. But what people don't realize is that, it's not all rainbows and butterflies coming back from injury.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard because, like you said, you do put your whole identity into basketball. And not necessarily are we like trying to do that, but it's just, it comes naturally because we do that 24/7. And so it's like, how do you not
Mm-hmm.
do that? How are you able to find a kind of a balance and through your injury come out a better athlete, both mentally and physically?
Yeah, like you said, coming back from injury is extremely difficult. And I think to add to that, coming back to injury in the middle of your season is extremely difficult. I got
Yes.
injured during our like preseason games. So I played about 7 games, I believe. Fractured my knee, so I was out for at least like 8 weeks, so 2 months. Um, And I was actually really thankful because everyone thought I tore my ACL, which we all know is not a basketball injury you want. You've been through it, it's horrible.
Never.
So I was thankful actually that I ended up fracturing it instead, but still was going to put me back with like 4 weeks left in the season. And I kind of had the opportunity. I could take a medical red shirt, or I could come back and play a few games. And I think my mentality was like, I want something to look forward to. I want something to work for. So I wanted to come back and play those games. Um, I obviously got really out of shape really fast. Like I couldn't walk. I was on crutches for 3 weeks. Then I was able to like limp on it, but I couldn't exercise. I was biking a little bit, like on the little stand up bikes. And
Yeah.
like I would just bike all practice long. Like, like I had like bruises on my butt from sitting on the bike so much. But it was like something that made me feel like I was like working out and got some cardio in, which made me feel good. But I was
Yes, but that
missing
bike is your best friend.
yeah, facts. But I was missing a lot of like information mentally. They were learning plays, they were learning offenses, they were playing teams in conference, and I was not. And I got really behind, and I felt down on myself mentally. Then I came back and I went through a horrible shooting slump because I had like no legs. Like I had to re-alter my whole entire shot, and then that obviously hurt my confidence really bad because I'm like, whoa, like I could shoot before I got hurt. Like what is going on right now? You know what I mean? And so that's another
Right.
confidence blocker. Did not help my mental health at all. And I'm just tired fast. Like I'm out of breath. I'm in practice. I like can't keep up, and I'm trying my hardest. And I think like the biggest thing for me was remembering that basketball is supposed to be fun and I'm supposed to be enjoying myself. And I think while I was hurt, the biggest thing that I was telling myself was like, dang, like I used to complain about how much we were running or how hard practice was. And like right now I would give anything to go practice. So I think when I came back, it was really like just a mindset of like gratitude. And when something was hard, I was just remind myself like a month ago, I was not allowed to do this and I was wishing I could. So like, you better suck it up and enjoy this running. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of changed my outlook just on sports in general. This was my biggest injury of all time. This is the longest I've ever had to sit out, which I'm really thankful for. But I think it definitely changed my outlook to just be thankful for everything every day, because there's people who can't play sports. There's people who wanted to play college basketball and couldn't. There's people who are injured right now, and like I'm healthy, I'm out there, I'm playing, and I should be thankful for that. So I think it helped my outlook on sports overall.
I love it.
Speaking of which, because I know both of you guys, y'all just mentioned y'all both experienced injuries from college, and Paisley, you mentioned how like that kind of added stress to the mental health. Like, I have a question for both of you guys. So, like, when y'all came back from it, did you feel like everything was a change of pace in, like, say, the way you run or the way you operated certain things in the sport?
Yeah. You want to go, Tay?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the biggest thing for me was the mental pace. Because, like, you can get back in shape. Like, I was running every single day trying to get back in shape. And obviously, I didn't get back to my previous state of in shapeness, but mentally the game was moving fast. Like I was overwhelmed. I did not remember how fast you had to think through things on the court. Like, how fast you needed to decide to pass, how fast you needed to decide to dribble, how fast you needed to decide to shoot. Like I felt very out of place on the court. I felt very lost. The coaches were calling plays. I'm like, whoa, what play is that? I'm like trying to remember while also like staying in the moment and playing the game. So I think mentally it was a huge adjustment from being out for that long. And I think it's something that did affect my game in the long run for the rest of the season. But I think it's something that, I'm obviously going to work through, and I'm back in shape now and I'm back healthy. And it's something that probably won't be an issue for me next season. But coming back from injury, it was extremely hard to be mentally sharp right after.
Yeah, I definitely think that is the biggest, if not one of the biggest changes, is coming back and just like having to make those quick decisions, because you've been over here watching and it's like, oh, this looks easy. Like, why isn't this girl doing this? Like, I can totally do that. And then
Totally.
you jump back in there when you're actually in, and it's just like, whoa. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, you're also thinking about like your knee, right? So I know coming
Mhm.
back from my ACL tear, I was also kind of worried about driving in. Like for the
Yeah.
first couple months, I did not want to drive. I did not want to go get a rebound. I didn't want to be in the paint at all
Hmm.
because I was just worried I was going to land on someone's foot or like tweak my knee somehow. So that kind of like altered my game too
Yeah.
at first because I wasn't doing the things that I would normally do. Um, so I think just like that extra thought, not only getting back on the court and playing in real game speed, but then also thinking about your knee and not wanting to
Hmm.
re-injure that also is just something, it's kind of scary at first. So it takes a few, like honestly, I would say it takes like 3 months of like real games, getting
Yeah.
back into it to just finally feel yourself again.
Yeah.
I think injury really does shape us for the better. Like in the moment, it
Hmm.
sucks and we take a big mental toll. But at the end of the day, like you said, Paige, I'm so grateful that I went through it because it shaped
Hmm.
me not only as an athlete, but as a person. And I was kind of able to realize what I like to do outside of hoops because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, we're going to be able to take basketball with us for our entire
Hmm.
lives. So it gives you a more positive outlook on life and then being able to practice and run. And you like in the moments where you're running suicide, you're like, oh, this sucks. But yes, literally, when
Yeah.
you're going through injury, you want to be running through those
So
suicides.
bad.
And people
Yeah.
are like, yeah, no, literally, you want to be out there and like dying and like puking with the other girls because it just sucks sitting on the bike
Totally.
because the bike
The
is,
bike.
like you said, the bike, girl. My butt was flat. I was like, my butt's already flat, and right now
Same.
I'm like, we're like in paving.
Me too. It was like inwards. Like they had like a bike seat indent in it. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I swear,
So it's like a
swear. I was like, I
concave.
can't live
Yes.
no more.
It's not this, it's just a
Yeah, it's
concave.
in. Yeah.
It's like, I don't
Yes.
want this back. I don't want this. Like,
Totally. Yeah, that was the time in my life, man.
so who would you say was that player that you looked up to, whether it's male, female? Who was that player that you like looked up to in the sport and that you kind of wanted to mold your game after?
Well, okay, first I'll go just like all time. I'm a Kobe fan. I'm a huge Kobe fan. Loved Kobe growing up. I was a Lakers fan as well. I still am a Lakers fan, but huge Kobe fan. Loved everything about him. Loved his game. Me and my dad would watch him all the time. I actually got to go to Kobe camp and meet him. He watched me play. It's like the greatest moment of all time in my life. He gave me a
I would
thumbs
die.
up when I scored. Yeah, I almost died. I was like about to cry on the court. I got a picture with him. It was like my life was made in that moment. But huge Kobe fan. Rest in peace. Love him. Like love him so much. That will always be my GOAT. But on the women's side, I loved Skylar Diggins growing up, especially when she was playing in college. She was also number 4. She wore that little tie headband, which I also wore. I think I was like her mini me. Like I just wanted to be just like her. And I think she just inspired me as a young girl. Like she was fun to watch. She was exciting. She had a life outside of basketball. Like it was like the complete package for me that I was like, wow, like I could see myself being like her growing up. So huge Skylar Diggins fan as well.
And the fact that
Love
she,
Skylar.
crazy. It's crazy. The fact that she graduated and then ended up getting a car by Rock Nation. She ended up actually
Mm-hmm.
signing with Rock Nation Sports right after college.
Yeah.
And I think if the NIL was implemented, I think she would have been one of the top, like,
Oh yeah.
athletes because, Lil Wayne was, rocking her jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Drake was, like, in love
That's what I'm
with
saying. She was
her.
like her. She was that girl. Yeah.
And then everybody, and you point out like the head tie, the headband. Everybody wanted to wear a head tie, headband like her. So, but yeah, it's definitely I could see that. I could see that.
Yes.
Go
I
ahead,
was a
girl.
big Skylar fan.
Go
I was
ahead,
gonna say,
girl.
I was gonna be the next Skylar. Okay, on and off the court.
Okay, don't
Yeah.
gas me up now.
No, but so overall, how would you say that you are more than an athlete and what are your goals for your future career, not only on the basketball court, but off the court as well?
Yeah, well, like kind of we've been talking about all day, mental health, all of that. Like we're all humans first. I also think like I'm a student first, I'm a student athlete, but like there's a lot more in life that should come before being an athlete. Like I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, like all these types of things. Like I love my family, I love my friends, I love life, like I love just living life, and basketball is a huge part of my life and I love it. But I don't just want to be a basketball player. I think I'm more than that. And like you said, we can't take basketball with us forever. So when I'm not playing basketball anymore, like who am I? I don't want to lose my identity because I lost a hobby. You know what I mean? So I think that, like I said, I'm just a person first. I'm a person that's enjoying life and playing basketball. And I really just want to inspire other girls. And I think like with the NIL, with social media, like I said, I looked up to Skylar Diggins when I was little, and I hope that there's some little girl basketball players that can look up to me or you guys and see that like you're not just a basketball player. You can also get dressed cute and go out, and you can hang out with your friends, and you can take an off day, and you can eat a burger and french fries and a milkshake and have fun and enjoy yourself. And life is short, and the whole world does not need to revolve around basketball. And like I said, I just want to inspire girls and have fun doing it and just continue to live my life, like do what I like to do what I enjoy, and not just have the weight of being an athlete on me all the time.
Well, you're doing a fabulous job, Paisley.
Well,
Go ahead,
you.
girl. Fabulous job.
Go ahead.
So,
Literally, I just love your positive outlook on life, on everything that we've said. It's just a very positive and reassuring outlook. So it's awesome, Paisley, that you have that.
Thank you so much. I think the same of you guys. And I think that we're all doing a great job of just inspiring the next generation and using our platform for good. I love what you guys are doing with the podcast even. My mom loves it. I've been showing my mom. She's a huge fan. So, just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Oh, well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on today. I know you and your mom are headed to Vegas, so have a blast there. Take your break,
thank
girl.
you.
Keep it up.
I will, indeed. I'm going to have some gelato.
Yes. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Yes. Eat that ice cream. Oh my God, I love ice cream. By the way,
Same.
my new favorite thing is, have you guys ever tried, there's like this soft serve and it comes in a fish cone.
I've been wanting to try that. Is it like the soft one, the soft like waffle cone?
Yes.
I've been wanting to try that. Maybe in Vegas. They have everything in Vegas.
They have everything
I don't
in
have
Vegas.
that in the South.
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
try
they
it.
probably don't, Ash. I'm sorry. But they have it in the West Coast, baby. West Coast, Best Coast.
They do.
We're super excited to keep up with your basketball journey, watch you grow as an athlete, as a person, and just as a woman in general. So thank you so much, Paige. We enjoyed having you on, and don't forget to tune in every Tuesday for another episode of She is Serious, because we are serious, baby.
Yes, and also Wilson Basketball, please sign Paisley right now.
Shout out Wilson. Thank you guys. Love you guys so much. Thank you for doing this.
Yay! Thank you.
We'll see you next time.